You sent some questions about why Tate flaked on the pod during his visit. Multiple people will ask you about that, and you intentionally ignore them. Okay. Number one, I'm running the show. A lot of shit's going on. A million chats come through, right? I'm sorry I didn't see your fucking question about this topic. It's very simple, my friends. We're planning something big for you guys. That's what's going on. Planning something big. I'm in talks with them, right? That's really the main thing I'll just say. Plan something big. And that's what's going down. All right? Can't reveal all of it right now. But that's what it comes down to. Anything else you want to know? No one censored any questions. The fact that you're even able to ask this question, I got it up on screen for you right now, and I'm answering it, shows that it's not censored. Okay? We're planning something big for y'all. And it's going to be lit. All right? Anything else?
The internet is a dystopian carnival where every booth is selling a different flavor of outrage. From crypto scams to conspiracy theories about oat milk being a government plot. In the middle of this chaos stands Myron Gaines, co-host of the Fresh and Fit podcast, a man who's built an empire on telling young men how to level up their masculinity, which apparently involves wearing tight t-shirts, hating on women, and treating life like a video game where the final boss is emotional vulnerability. Myron's got a fanbase that worships him like he's the second coming of Tony Robbins, and they're buzzing on X, demanding answers about why Andrew Tate, the manosphere's reigning monarch, didn't show up on Fresh and Fit during his whirlwind trip to America. Did Tate snub Myron? Is there a rift in the alpha male universe? Is this the manosphere equivalent of a boy band breakup? In this clip, Myron's responding to these fans with the energy of a substitute teacher who's just found out the kids are live streaming his meltdown. He's dodging the question like it's a dodgeball game in middle school, insisting he's too busy running the show to notice every comment in the million-strong chat. But then he drops the bombshell. He's not ignoring the fans, he's just planning something big. Something so big, apparently, that it excuses Tate's no-show and absolves Myron of having to give a straight answer. It's the kind of vague, hype man promise that sounds like it was ripped from a Kickstarter scam, because this is peak 2025, a world where influencers dodge accountability like it's cardio, and fans eat it up like it's a protein shake after leg day. This whole saga is a glitter-dusted allegory for the manosphere's obsession with power, status, and the illusion of control. Myron's not just defending his podcast, he's defending his place in a hierarchy where alpha males like Tate are the gods and everyone else is scrambling for scraps of clout. Because this is what happens when you build a culture on bravado instead of substance. You end up with grown men arguing over podcast guest lists like they're fighting for the last slice of pizza at a frat party. The alleged snub. Andrew Tate, the man who's made a career out of yelling about high-value men while allegedly dodging legal troubles like their unpaid parking tickets, was in the U.S. for what sounds like a hot minute before hightailing it back to Romania. Fans expected him to pop up on Fresh and Fit, the podcast that's basically the manosphere's equivalent of a sports bar where everyone's arguing about who's the toughest. But Tate didn't show, and the fans are acting like it's a betrayal on par with Judas selling out Jesus for a Crypto.com sponsorship. Myron's response: he's not avoiding the question, he's just too busy planning something big. Oh, honey, that's not an answer. That's a press release for a project that doesn't exist. Because this is the manosphere in a nutshell. All hype, no substance, like a Red Bull can with nothing but air inside. Myron's out here acting like he's orchestrating the next Marvel Cinematic Universe, when really he's just trying to save face in front of a fanbase that's ready to riot over a missed podcast episode. And let's talk about Andrew Tate for a second, because the man's a walking contradiction. A self-proclaimed alpha who spent years preaching about dominance, yet somehow can't find time to sit down with his fellow machismo merchants. Is he avoiding Myron? Maybe. Is he just too busy dodging lawsuits and tweeting about the Matrix? Probably. Either way, the fact that this is even a controversy shows how fragile the manosphere's ego is. One missed podcast, and the whole alpha male pyramid starts wobbling like a Jenga tower in an earthquake. What's wilder is how Myron handles the backlash. He's not just deflecting, he's flexing, reminding his fans that he's running the show, and they're lucky he's even acknowledging their questions. It's the kind of power move that screams, "I'm in charge, peasants," and screaming back, because this is what toxic masculinity looks like. A grown man treating his audience like they're auditioning for his approval. Myron's not answering the question, he's performing, turning a simple, "Why didn't Tate show up?" into a cryptic teaser trailer for a non-existent blockbuster. It's like he's saying, "Trust me, bros, the Tate collab is coming, and it's gonna be bigger than Avengers Endgame." Spoiler alert, it's not. Because this Myron Tate drama isn't just about a podcast snub. It's about the toxic swamp of the manosphere, where masculinity is a currency, vulnerability is a crime, and clout is the only thing that matters. Myron Gaines and Andrew Tate are two sides of the same coin, minted in the factory of internet outrage, selling young men a fantasy of power while the world around them crumbles. Because this is what happens when you let unchecked ego and algorithm-driven fame run wild. You get a culture where grown men argue over guest lists instead of addressing real issues like inequality, mental health, or the fact that the planet's on fire. The manosphere, for the uninitiated, is a digital dystopia where alpha males like Tate and Myron preach a gospel of dominance, telling young men that the key to success is to lift weights, hate women, and treat life like a cage match. It's a worldview so reductive it makes a BuzzFeed quiz look like a philosophy dissertation. Myron's response to his fans, dismissing their questions while hyping up some vague, grandiose plan, is a perfect example of how this culture operates. It's all about control, not connection. He's not engaging with his audience. He's lecturing them, reminding them that he's the one in charge, that their questions are just noise in the million-strong chat of his empire. I'm cackling because it's so transparently insecure, like a guy who buys a Hummer to compensate for something we're not allowed to mention on network television. This drama also highlights the fragility of the manosphere's hierarchy. Tate's absence from Fresh and Fit isn't just a scheduling conflict, it's a perceived slight, a crack in the alpha male facade that Myron's scrambling to patch up. Because in this world, status is everything, and a snub from Tate is like a king refusing to knight his squire. Because this is what toxic masculinity does. It turns relationships into power struggles, friendships into alliances, and podcasts into battlegrounds. Myron's not just defending his show. He's defending his place in a pecking order that's as arbitrary as it is toxic. And his fans are eating it up like it's a protein bar labeled self-improvement. Let's talk about Myron's masterstroke, the promise of something big. It's the oldest trick in the influencer playbook, right up there with smash that like button and check out my Patreon for exclusive content. Myron's out here acting like he's got a secret plan so monumental it'll make the moon landing look like a middle school talent show. Something big, guys, trust me, it's gonna be huge, you're gonna love it. I can't tell you what it is, but it's big. It's the kind of vague hype that could mean anything from a Tate collaboration to a new line of Fresh and Fit branded energy drinks called Alpha Juice. Because this is what influencers do. They sell promises, not answers, and their fans buy it like it's Black Friday at a crypto exchange. This deflection is peak manosphere strategy. When in doubt, hype it out. Myron's not addressing the Tate snub because he doesn't have to. His audience is so invested in the fantasy of his alpha empire that they'll accept something big as an answer, no questions asked. It's like a magician distracting you with a puff of smoke while he sneaks the rabbit out of the hat. And the rabbit, in this case, is the truth. Maybe Tate didn't show up because he's got bigger fish to fry, or maybe he just doesn't vibe with Myron's brand of podcast machismo. Either way, Myron's not about to admit that on air, because vulnerability is the manosphere's kryptonite, and he'd rather die than show a crack in his alpha armor. Because this is what happens when you build a culture on bravado instead of honesty. Myron's fans aren't asking for much, just a straight answer about why their idol didn't show up. But instead of giving them that, he's giving them a teaser trailer for a movie that might not even exist. It's a power move, a reminder that he's the one in control and his fans are just along for the ride. And in 2025, when the internet's a battlefield and attention is the ultimate currency, this kind of deflection is more than a tactic, it's a lifestyle.